Well, so I have absolutely no business being in digital marketing in the first place. My background is all in studio music and jazz performance.
And they say like the lifeblood of any business is sales, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that neglect retention, right?
that to me will destroy an agency faster than just about anything else.
What would you say is the first delegation move every agency owner should make?
Just check a box. I love it, I hate it, or I tolerate it. Well, what you want to hire for first is your hate box.
Love it. The agency owner is drowned with things that they shouldn't be doing, right?
What happens is a lot of owners are like, they messed up that one time, so they don't let their team fail. It's the only way to learn. Nobody learns any other way other than through failure.
Like once your agency gets to 2 million, 3 million, 4,
Right.
what you do after things break, that's the important thing. You start actually liking your agency, right? It doesn't feel like, oh my God, it's this agency, I just want to sell it or I just want to get out of it, right? I mean, do you think that happens to a lot of agency owners that they get, I don't know, they get burned out? All right, welcome to the Go Accomplish More podcast, where we interview successful agency owners, partners, team members, those individuals that are doing amazing things in their business, right? And today we have Nick Horde. Nick Horde is the founder of Nick the Marketer and Patient Care Marketing Pros. Nick has built a reputation for helping urgent care clinics and healthcare providers triple patient volume with smart digital marketing. He's bold enough to guarantee 100 new patients in 90 days, and he delivers. Beyond healthcare, Nick speaks on podcasts and talks about freedom, systems, and delegation, which I wrote a book about that, which is great. And the keys to building an agency that doesn't become a prison, right? His story mirrors the journey so many agency owners can go through, and I'm excited today. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Man, I'm glad to be here. I love the success of the Go Accomplish More podcast, your new book, all the things that you're doing in the agency space. Proud of you, dude, and appreciate the invite to be on the podcast.
Likewise, man. It's a pleasure to have you. So yeah, man, let's jump right in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what's something recently that you've accomplished, big or small, that you're super proud of?
Well, anybody who hangs around me long enough knows I'm a pilot because, we can't not say that we're a pilot if we're a pilot, right? I just finished up my instrument rating, which allows me to go fly into clouds and above clouds and things that you typically can't do as just a standard traditional private pilot.
That's so
fun.
cool.
That's a big one. Yeah.
That's so cool. How long did it take you to become a pilot? That's so amazing.
So becoming a pilot, about 10 months. Becoming an instrument rated pilot, about a year and a half.
That's so cool.
That's the hardest rating to get, in my opinion.
Do you have a special maintenance person that takes care of the engine and whatnot? You just don't want that to fail on you, right? When you're
I've
flying
got
up there?
two. I've got a guy named Brandon that's local on the airport, who does a lot of our smaller maintenance items, and then a guy named Ed at another airport that does all of our major overhaul type situations. So yeah.
That's so
you got to
cool.
have a crew, man.
Yeah, I mean, I live close by a small airport and I see the planes flying by and I think of you sometimes like, man, Nick, that could be Nick up there,
It could be, man. I need to make a trip over there and say hi to you in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, outside of marketing, like flying planes and whatnot, so what's something about you most people don't know?
Well, so I have absolutely no business being in digital marketing in the first place. My background is all in studio music and jazz performance.
Ooh.
So, I play saxophone, and I used to play in a band called Mo Green and the Fishnuts, which was just ridiculous.
Oh,
it was
sweet.
just ridiculous. One of these days, I'll have to post up a picture of me in my big gold jacket. And I had hair then too, so a double threat.
Oh man, yeah, that happened to all of us. I lost my hair too, but either way, I think we're smarter, right? I think
That's
bald
right.
guys are a lot smarter. I think.
But the hair follicles fall out to make room for all those extra brain cells, right?
Absolutely. You've been a digital marketer for many years. We've been in some of the same groups before. You're actually a coach now, which is amazing. What got you into digital marketing?
So I started out my marketing journey at Coca-Cola and then went to radio. And what got me into the digital side of things is in radio at the time frame I was in radio and broadcasting, selling advertising and managing a radio station. Digital was kind of blowing up, right? Like blowing up in a good way. And we would sell our advertisers on radio ads, and then they would say, "Hey, listen, I need help with my website or Google or whatever." And so I would call. I didn't do that. So I would call up a local agency or somebody that I might have had a relationship with, and then they would take my client and then they would pull them off of the radio and just go digital. And
Mm,
after about the seventh time of this happening, I said, I'm giving away my business. I want to serve my client. So I'm going to learn everything I can about website SEO. And then came across a guy named Billy Gene Shaw. I'm sure you've heard Billy Gene as marketing.
yep.
And I bought his Clicks into Customers 2.0 course and became really good at Facebook ads. And when the time was right, I broke into that and started my agency as just a Facebook ads agency. So it was born out of necessity and loss, is how it happened.
It's crazy. And I think when I look back in my journey as well, like we started as a print marketer
Right.
and my clients were asking, do you build websites? Do you build websites? And we kept on saying, no, we don't. No, we don't. And after a while, I'm like, yes, we do build websites. So
Yeah.
I hired my first website designer and we started offering websites. Right. And I think that that's how the market shifts, right?
Right.
In this thing called digital marketing, it's rapidly changing and you have to kind of adjust to the industry, right?
For sure.
That's crazy, but that's nice. That's nice to hear how you got into it. And what I mean, what's one failure? I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of failures in your life. I mean, what's one failure or tough decision in your journey that that's actually shaped your success right now?
I guess the biggest failure that kind of shaped my path or put me on a journey was a college experience for me. I had a blast in college and I didn't flunk out of college. So I don't want to give that impression. But I didn't finish and I was studying music. My dad had called me up. We had put all this money into studio music and jazz performance and he just called me up one day and he goes, yeah, son, how many musicians do you don't want to go be an educator, which is funny because I'm a coach now. You don't want to be an educator. It's not your goal to go teach music somewhere. How many musicians do you know that have a degree that are making it in music?
Mm,
And it was at that moment I'm like, I'm wasting my time. Like it's not a waste of time from the standpoint of college or anything, but it's just I was wasting my time. And that was a failure of time, but it opened up. Well, let me say it this way. When you don't have a degree to lean on, you have to lean on work ethic. And so
absolutely.
magically work ethic appeared.
That's so good. That's so
And that
good.
doesn't,
And
I have to be careful with the way I say that because I don't want to think people that have degrees don't have a work ethic. That's not what I'm getting
of
at.
course, of
I
course.
just like they typically have both. I only could lean on my work ethic.
Wow, that's so good.
Right.
And from your perspective, like based out of struggle and whatnot, what would be the biggest pain point agency owners are facing right now?
The biggest pain point, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, from one standpoint, churn is probably a biggest
Mm,
pain point. And the reason I think churn and for the uninitiated, that's just simply cancellation of clients. You get, I call it what's known as churn to you is what we call a revolving door business. You get a client in, a client goes out. You get one in, a client goes out, and it's just that to me will destroy an agency faster than just about anything else.
100%. And they say like the lifeblood of any business is sales, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that neglect retention, right? I mean, you
yeah,
would say a healthy retention percentage could be what, 5% or less?
yeah. So 5% or less. But just going back, you had mentioned sales being the lifeblood of a business. Really, revenue is right. Revenue and profit is the lifeblood.
100%.
Sales will take you there for sure, but an agency that has an agency, or let's just say a business in general, that has added 100 clients. I'm using a good round number there. There's probably a lot less, but let's just say they added 100 clients. And 5 years ago, they stopped adding clients, but they had 100% retention. They have what's called an asset. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yep,
still getting paid
totally.
on the work that they did
Yep,
5 years ago, right?
yep.
So that cash flow that you create through retention to me is more important than bringing on new sales.
And that's so true. A lot of times there's people that try to outwit
Mhm.
their churn, right? And I think that steady growth is more important than just, okay, I'm just going to focus on one side or the other. I think you got to focus on both angles in order for it to work and for an agency to scale,
Yeah.
right? But I think in the beginning, obviously in the beginning, you want more sales and more revenue, but then you have to focus on the retention, right? And that happens a lot when an agency hits seven figures and beyond, then retention starts playing a big deal, right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, I think people are better at sales than retention. It's easier for me to go get a new client than to keep one happy. Um, but not that we're bad at what we do. It's just like I know how to sell better than I know how to maintain. Probably mostly because like if you look at the six working geniuses, my tenacity is very very low. Like using a football analogy, American football analogy, I can get it to the 10-yard line, but I need somebody else to get it over the goal line. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I'm really good at getting it there in the sales process, but I need a whole team to go that extra 10 yards to make sure that we're scoring touchdowns for our clients on a regular basis. So yeah, I mean, I think most business owners start in the section where they're really good at sales, but they have to they don't there's no systems in place. There's no people in place. You're just trying to figure out like I know how to sell and I know how to do this one thing, and then I can't do both at the same time though.
Totally. So we were talking about pain points for agency owners, but right now you're a marketer and you help healthcare, right? Healthcare, practices. What are some of the challenges you see?
Well, so let me get granular with mine because at this point we're specific into the urgent care niche. So with ours, you have more competition than ever. COVID opened the world up, or at least the American world up, to this notion that urgent care matters. So everybody said, "Hey, these guys are drowning because they have so many people coming in their clinics. We're going to just open up clinics, and we'll just keep opening up clinics." Well, when COVID fell off, you had all of this new competition and a lack of demand that was there at that point. On the other side of that, you have hospital systems. Emergency room and an urgent care aren't the same thing. So a hospital system said, "Hey, we can do urgent care." If they can't, they would step in and they get a different pay rate from insurance than an urgent care. They get paid more. So it's called value-based care, and they're able to prove their value because they're the complete package from the urgent care all the way into the hospital system, but they're not very good at urgent care, right? So imagine, let me put this into agency terms, John. Imagine how many times you've tried to sell marketing for them to say, well, marketing doesn't work because they've been screwed over by so many other marketing companies. Well, that's what emergency room and hospitals are doing to the urgent care space. See what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so that's the parallel I can draw there. So you take all of this competition, you take pay rates that haven't changed in 15 years. So just imagine 15 years ago is what they're getting paid for, right?
Wow.
You take those two things together, high competition, lower volume, and low pay, and that's what they're dealing with on a regular basis. And it's our job to step in and help them get volume because that's the only way they can make more money is to get more patients through the door.
Whenever you're trying to approach these agencies that they don't have enough budget because of that to market themselves, or do you strategically focus on certain urgent cares that are making that million plus and above?
This is a unique question because I think if you were going to ask this to most industries, there would be a level of guilt that could possibly come along with that. Here's why I don't. Doctors make a lot of money. They act broke, but they're not broke, right? They make a lot of money. And there's a difference in what a doctor makes personally and what a clinic makes. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
What I have found is the doctor pays themselves first, where most business owners, and this isn't across the board for doctors, but in general, most doctors pay themselves first, and then they pay everything else secondary. Like they're going to make their money, they're paying all their bills, right? So I don't really feel guilty when I come into that because I know they're making good money. My goal is to get them to 23 patients per day so that they can break even on their clinic level. And no, because we have a system that we've built with people like people from GoStaffy that we've put into place. We've taken the systems and the people so that we can confidently go to them and say, hey, we're going to get you to this break even point and then start making you money. Then we can start talking about scale. So no, I don't feel guilty about it at all.
That's great.
But I would if I wasn't confident. I think if I was dealing in 30 different types of niches or 10 different medical spaces and I wasn't confident, yeah, I think confidence reduces guilt. That's a good way to say it.
We're going to get into some strategies and systems and maybe some advice because there's a lot of people listening to this podcast that are probably agency owners. They're probably urgent care clinics that are hearing, and we want to hear some juicy advice. So one of them is like your agency guarantees 100 new patients in 90 days. Like, how do you do that, right? Like, what gave you the confidence to make such a bold guarantee?
Okay, well, part of it is the system, the packages, what we call a program that we put into place. We have 3 different programs: Activate, Elevate, Dominate. Those are our 3 programs. and they're designed in such a way to meet the need at any given level of a clinic. So what is Activate? I just need patients coming through the door. It's our Google Ads strategy, and our strategy is different than most strategies, and that's why it works well for us. But it's our Google Ads strategy plus ad spend, and we're getting them patients through the door. Once we get them on that break even level, then we can start worrying about the Elevate program, which adds in search engine optimization and,
Love
of
it.
course, a new website that's going to bundle it all up to make sure that their SEO is working with proper conversion rate optimization. All right, so that's that second package. And then the third one is all of the digital that we provide, social media, Facebook ads, all of that kind of stuff, right? That's the third level, and you should be making a really good profit by the time we activate that level of a package, right? So back to your original question, is the way we have built our programs is what gives us the confidence to deliver on those results. We've seen it over and over again, hundreds of clinics at this point that we've been able to service. We know what works.
Right. And I think it gives them those quick wins, right? Like
Right.
in the beginning, those 2 to 3 months when you actually onboard a client and you're getting those patients in within the first few months, it gives them that, that assurance, right? Like,
That's
hey,
right.
this agency is working and it's working out for me, right?
Knowing your own metrics internally is another way of doing this, right? So for us in the medical space specific to urgent care, our cost per conversion across all of these accounts I just talked about, the hundreds of locations that we've managed, right? Our average cost per conversion is $10.
Mm,
Okay. Well, we know that. So if we're going to ask, well, how much is $1,000 worth at $10 per conversion? Math's pretty easy on that. It's 100,
100.
right? So if you give me $1,000 a month ad spend budget and our cost per conversion is $10,
Totally.
I'm going to get you 100 patients. By the way, John, we make that in a 90-day promise. We typically hit it by day 45.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we've hedged our bets as well on our end.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about more on the agency because you have a lot of experience. You're a coach and you know your stuff, right?
Mhm.
You've been in business for a long time. What would you say is the first delegation move every agency owner should make to scale beyond themselves?
So I feel like it's kind of, you're doing 2 to 3 things at a time in order to make this delegation. Identifying the area of frustration that you have. Here's how I coach people to do it. I have them get like, just here's a piece of paper, like a notepad, right? Get a piece of paper and make 4 columns. The first column is the task, and the next 3 columns are love, hate, tolerate. Right? Write down the task and then just check a box. I love it, I hate it, or I tolerate it. Well, what you want to hire for first is your hate box,
Love it.
right? The next one that you want to hire for is your tolerate box, right? So, but you have to do this for at least, I think 30 days, but you could pretty much do it in about 2 weeks. But if you have to be disciplined to sit down with a notepad, just keep it next to your computer and just every task that you do, I love it, I hate it, or I tolerate it. And you know exactly where to call John up and say, I need help, right? Like that's what I'm saying though. That's how I identified my first hire.
That's so good. That's so good. And when we were scaling and we're still scaling rapidly, is I remember hiring my first EA where I was drowning in emails, drowning in my calendar. And when I hired my EA, it was just, wow, why didn't I hire this person a long time ago, right?
Right.
And freed up my time. And I was able to focus on the other things that I should be focusing on, right? Sales and business development, right? Building relationships, getting on the podcast with you today, right?
That's
and
right.
doing the things that we should be doing. But a lot of times, the agency owner is drowned with things that they shouldn't be doing, right? Another task I was doing a lot was I was doing invoices and I hated it. I'm pretty good at numbers and whatnot.
Right.
But then we hired a part-time accountant, like accountant or billing rep. And that person takes care of all the, credit card transactions, all the failed transactions, creating new invoices, contracts. And when you start delegating those areas that you don't like you said, love, hate,
Yeah.
you start actually liking your agency, right? It
That's
doesn't
right.
feel like, oh my God, it's this agency. I just want to sell it or I just want to get out of it, right? I mean,
Right.
do you think that happens to a lot of agency owners that they get, I don't know, they get burned out
Yeah.
and they're just tired? I'm like, you know what? I just want to do something else because they're so burned out, on doing the mundane every single day, right?
I think everybody's going to get to that part, right? I think that is an inevitable wall that you have to break through, right? I think every agency, I think every business deals with it. Like business owner deals with it. So it's at that point, every time I hit that wall though, John, I bring out the notepad and then I'm going, something is causing burnout. And it's because I'm saying yes to things I shouldn't be saying yes to. And I'm not saying no to things in areas that I absolutely know I need to say no to that. And the only way for me to identify that, because you can't think about everything that you do all the time, is to get out the notepad, get that rusty old notepad out and do your love, hate, tolerate. And that's how you're going to identify. And by the way, I still do this, even though I've delegated so much of this company
Hmm.
to the proper people, right? Even with all of this stuff off my plate, there's still seasons where I have to get out the notepad and identify what's sucking the life out of me right now, and how do I get it off my plate. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's going to hit this wall, and that is the prescription that I give everybody is write it down.
So just like people are important, right? Hiring the right people and delegating is super important. How important is also building systems, right? If you want to get to that next level, right? What type of systems do you use and automations, AI? Maybe you can share a little bit of best
Yeah.
practices that you use in order to streamline your operation and your agency.
So best question you've asked so far, right there, right? There's a couple of things you have to do when you're ready to make hires and stuff like that. First is to identify the area that is just sucking the life out of you. Well, in order for you to be able to properly hand that off to somebody else, you have to SOP that out, standard operating procedure, playbook it, however you want to call it, right? Here's how I coach people to do it, and here's how I've done it internally that's worked for me. There's been in the past, it was a long drudging process that makes you want to go kill small animals. Today, ChatGPT has made it significantly easier to do this. And here's how I'm coaching people to do this, and even my team now, because I'm having my team go through this process, is record every meeting that you have when you're talking to somebody about this process, or record every time you do this process. Once you have about 8 to 10 recordings on Loom or Fathom or whatever you're recording on, constantly take those recordings and put them into a project, right? That you can prompt, right? Put it into a project into ChatGPT. And it needs to be around the same thing. Like if it's sales you're trying to pass off, do it in a sales folder. If it's SEO that you're trying to hand off, do an SEO folder. If it's just this one stupid task, like how to do my email, do that, right? But you want the folder to house all of these recordings and transcripts. Then you can just simply say the prompt. I want to create an SOP, analyze the data I've given you, ask me clarifying questions, and then let it go to work. It'll do everything else you need it to do right there. Those are the 3 prompts. That's it.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I have right in front of me, I have the CRIT framework, which I know you're
Yeah.
very familiar with.
Yeah.
Context, role, right? Interview and task, right? Now, there's another nugget that I want to share, talking about systems, is that we use Notebook LM, which is
Okay.
amazing. And what
Yeah.
we do is we grab all the sales, like all the sales recordings, we grab all the transcriptions, we dump it into Notebook, LM, and it creates a playbook. It creates frequently asked questions. And that's how we train our salespeople, right?
Right.
So you can do something similar as well. You can use Notebook LM and create, SOPs, and very simple. I mean, literally, like within 5 minutes, you can have the SOPs ready, but you have to press record and you have to do the SOP yourself first, right?
And that's the real challenge. I don't know if it's like this for you, John. I'm positive it's like this for most of the people that are listening to this. You have 20 tabs open. Somebody walks into your office. A phone rings. You get pulled away from the task that you were working on, that you were trying to record. You feel like you have to start over. This is why you need 8 to 10, right? This is why you don't do it with just one, right? You need 8 to 10 so that you can find commonalities, so that you can find consistencies across all of the things that you're doing. But I love this notebook that you're talking about, because you want a system. Again, if you're already trying to delegate, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Use Notebook LM to do it for you. I mean, gosh, pay for it. It's going to be okay.
For you to grow, you have to change your mindset. So I
Right.
want to talk a little bit about mindset and freedom. When it comes to mindset, like how did that shift when you started, I don't know, let's say 10 years ago to the person you are now? Like what were some of those habits that made you the person you are today?
Some of the habits. Well, I don't know so much as habits as just like the mindsets that you were talking about. I started having, I want to say this happened maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I had to start shifting my mindset from what I was trying to accomplish to the understanding that my vision has to be big enough to encompass everybody else's vision on my team. Right. And when you have that type of perspective, you make different decisions because the decisions no longer just impact what you're doing.
Mm.
So I think that's the biggest mindset is just going from my vision to a comprehensive vision, an all-encompassing vision. And here's what that means. I'll use names because I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to be offended by me saying this, but it can't just be the vision for Patient Care Marketing Pros. What does Hannah want to get out of her role here, and how is the financials and the work that she's doing and the impact she's making in her role and the clinics that we serve? How is that feeding her dreams, goals? How is this helping Michael? I'm just going to say adopt that child that he's trying to adopt. How is this going to help him do that? And then, okay, well, great. Now that I've developed that, what do I have to do to show up? Do I need to show up when I don't feel like it? Because there was a time where if I didn't feel like I didn't have to, nobody would care. But now it's noticed. And freedom only works when there's guardrails. United States only works because there's a Declaration of Independence with Bill of Rights. You take the Declaration away and the Bill of Rights, then America completely falls apart, freedom and all, because there's no guardrails. Same thing in freedom in your agency. You have to have guardrails in place. You have to have mission. You have to have vision. You have to have values. And then everybody has to know those things. So these are some of the mindset things that I'm talking about is how do I incorporate the freedom that I want is to make sure that I'm crystal clear and my team is crystal clear on the guardrails that are in place for them to have the freedom to do the kind of work that they want to do, because they also have to know what they can't do, right? Who they can't serve, who they can't take care of. I feel like I'm going down a couple of rabbit holes here, John. So if you need to get me back on course, you can.
No, I love that. I love that.
But I think an all-encompassing vision will stretch you personally as an owner or a leader. And then from the freedom perspective, having those proper guardrails in the form of mission, vision, values. Like what are you trying to accomplish? How are you trying to accomplish it? Right. And what are the non-negotiables as far as your core values, right? Understanding those things will give you the freedom to put the people in place.
Absolutely.
To put the people in place for you to be able to step back and go, they got it. They got it.
Yeah. So we created a very simple way. Like I'm a fan of having the right core values, and we have 4 simple core values, and it's called EPIC, right? We had an acronym. So it's having empathy, being proactive, having integrity, and continuous growth. And
that's good.
We love it. I mean, people memorize it, and that's a little trick that I did. I mean, that's a little tip that I give everyone here is that a lot of times we do core values, but we don't even know them, right? And it's super important for us to remember them whenever we're hiring, whenever there's certain situations happening. And like you said, this is going to help build the mindset of all the team members and even yourself, right?
So I guess mine would be like QUI.
You're like, darn it, I should have made mine with an acronym.
Yeah. I was like, mine's terrible. I can't lead with that anymore, but I also don't want to change them. How can I? All right, let's get ChatGPT out. See how we can fix it.
So what was the turning point that finally helped you trust your team? Because I know that's a big issue with a lot of agency owners. I mean, I deal with a lot of agency owners, even myself, right? There's a certain point where you have to trust, right? In order to delegate, when you're delegating, you need to trust people.
I think it's Dan Martell. Buy back your time. He had a quote that says 80% done by somebody else is 100% free and awesome.
Read the book.
Right?
Amazing. Yep.
Okay. It's words to live by, right? But when I realized that the 80% done by somebody else doesn't mean that they're only doing 80% of the job. What it meant is about 80% of it looks like the way you would do it. They're doing the other 20% the way that they need to do it to execute. You're going to get to 100% on the other side of that. Learning that concept, and then because before that, I was still delegating before that, but it was at that concept about 2.5 years ago, I believe Josh Nelson gave that book to everybody. So when I read it, I got that. And it was at that point where I realized that I could trust them, even though it didn't look like it was the way I was going to do it completely. I'm going to start measuring outcomes instead of inputs.
I love that.
And when I started doing that, released me to be able to delegate properly.
once you start doing that, you start becoming like an operator to a real CEO, right? Because
Right.
that's the goal, right? In the end, I mean, the role of a CEO is to cast vision, build relationships, and have that higher, hierarchy. Not that we're above everyone, but you have the vision to think of
Right.
where's the company going, what's the new direction, right? Do you feel sometimes that there's a lot of agencies that when they don't delegate or when they don't trust their team, they still fall into that operator mode and they're not really acting as the CEO, right?
I'm positive that's the case. I'm positive that they do that. They get into a headspace of nobody's doing it the way I would do it, so I'm going to do it myself. Or it's easier for me to just do it myself than try and teach somebody else to do it.
Right, right.
Which is probably the most common thing. But what really gets them, John, this is the ultimate next level move, is to release it confidently, right? And the only way to release it confidently is going back to, am I giving away the things that I hate doing anyway?
Mm,
So one, here, back up just a hair. My first hire that I made was the wrong hire, but it wasn't because of them. It was because of me. I gave away something that I enjoyed doing instead of something that frustrated me.
hmm.
I gave away the wrong thing, right? There'll come a time where you have to, if you really want to be the most effective CEO that you can be, or leader, or whatever, is there will come a time where you have to give away the thing that you enjoy doing. But that's probably going to be the last thing that you're going to give away. And so you have to be very careful about which part you give away. And then when you give it away, you have to have those procedures in place that they can follow, and they don't need to be in the highest detail. They need to be guardrails, right? We were talking about that. Like, you're going to open up a Facebook ads account, right? This is the kind of settings that we're going to hit. This is what we're trying to accomplish in our creative, right? And then let them take it from that 80 to their 100.
And you judge just by the outcome, right?
That's it. Judge the outcomes. What happens is a lot of owners are like, they messed up that one time because, they're afraid of failure. So they don't let their team fail. And your team has to fail. It's the only way to learn. It's the only way to learn. Nobody learns any other way other than through failure.
And you know what? I remember hearing a roundtable, I think it was at 7FA, and there were a lot of agencies up there that were at multiple seven figures. And they were talking about that it's normal for things to break. Like once your agency gets to 2 million, 3 million, 4, it's normal. Now, what you do after things break, that's the important thing, right? Make sure you learn from that and tweak it, make it better, and then just keep on going, because you're not going to know what's ahead of you, right? Until you get there, right? I mean, to a certain point, obviously.
Well, the good news is you have people that are out ahead of you that you can choose to listen to. But I also look back at my own children, right? Who I'm telling them that they're walking into pitfalls, and they just have to walk into that pitfall. They're just going to do it. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you have to learn that lesson personally, not by viewing somebody else to do it.
Well, Nick, I'm going to share just ask you 3 questions, just fast, lightly round right here. Book that has changed your life.
Well, obviously the Bible.
100%.
Move that one to the side for 2 seconds. Is The Motive by Pat Lencioni.
Love it.
That book, there was one specific chapter that was just yelling at me. It was sanctioned incompetence. And just, I'll let, your audience go read the book. It's worth it, or at least listen to it. Pat Lencioni has a cool voice. So
one daily habit you can't live without.
Coffee.
Ooh, I love that one. I love
Coffee,
that one.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. This one, last one. If you lost everything today, what's the very first thing you'd do?
Run an ad. I would run an ad. John, I delayed doing that for so long. It was such a stupid move. I would be so much further ahead if I just press play.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I mean, where can people connect with you, Nick, learn more about you, follow you? What's the best place?
You can go to nickthemarketer.com if you want to know more about the agency. It'll link over to Patient Care Marketing Pros. I'm on LinkedIn. Just give me some time if you connect with me. I've gotten to a point now where I check it about once every 2 or 3 days. I don't do it every day like I used to. But LinkedIn is a good way to do it, or just Nick at nickthemarketer.com. Shoot me an email.
Amazing. One more question, and I ask this question, everybody that's on the podcast, what's one final piece of advice for someone listening who wants to go accomplish more in their agency and in their life?
Action cures fear.
Ooh, love that. Love that.
Take action. At the area, by the way, take action in the area that you're hesitating to take action in. That'd be the best way to do it.
That's amazing. Nick, so far, you have been the best person. I'm just playing, but you've been great. You have been a great
nobody
guest.
believes it when you say that, John, but I do appreciate it.
No, but it's been fun having you. We've learned a lot. You gave a lot of great nuggets, and super excited to have you again, possibly in the future.
Love it, man. Anytime. I'm here for you. Thanks for
Amazing.
having me.
All right.
All
Thanks.
right. We'll see you.